Flip a switch right now, and light fills the room instantly. You never think about it twice, but for nearly the entire history of our species, night meant real darkness, dangerous darkness, the kind that shaped when humans slept, worked, hunted, and even felt safe. One invention ended all of that, permanently, in the span of a single human lifetime, and the man usually given full, sole credit for it wasn't actually the person who made it work well enough to matter. That credit belongs to someone almost nobody has ever heard of, the son of two parents who had escaped slavery. This is the history of the light bulb. Let's start with the real beginning, decades before anyone had a working bulb at all. In 1802, a British chemist named Humphry Davy connected charcoal strips to a battery and produced a harsh, blinding arc of light. It worked, technically, but it burned out almost immediately and was nearly impossible to control. In 1840, another inventor named Warren de la Rue tried sealing a coiled platinum filament inside a vacuum tube. Platinum could handle the heat beautifully. There was just one problem. Platinum was staggeringly expensive, far too costly for anyone to use it commercially. In 1860, a British physicist named Joseph Swan took a different approach entirely, using a carbonized paper filament instead of metal. It glowed. It also burned out within minutes, and Swan lacked the vacuum technology needed to fix the problem. He shelved the idea for nearly 2 decades until vacuum pump technology finally caught up, allowing him to demonstrate a genuinely working incandescent lamp in Newcastle, England, in late 1878. Meanwhile, in America, Thomas Edison was chasing the exact same goal, testing thousands of different filament materials in his lab at Menlo Park. In 1879, he found a carbonized bamboo filament that glowed for around 40 hours inside a sealed, oxygen-free bulb. He kept refining the design until it could burn for over 1,500 hours. Edison patented his version, and, thanks to a combination of ruthless business instincts and expert marketing, became the name that history remembers. But here's the part almost nobody gets taught. The person who actually made Edison's light bulb affordable and practical enough for ordinary homes wasn't Edison at all. His name was Lewis Latimer, and his own life story is genuinely remarkable on its own terms. Latimer was born in Chelsea, Massachusetts in 1848, the youngest of 4 children, born to George and Rebecca Latimer, who had fled slavery in Virginia just 6 years earlier. Shortly after arriving in Boston, George was actually captured under the Fugitive Slave Act and put on trial, a case that became a rallying point for abolitionists like Frederick Douglass, before local supporters eventually purchased his freedom outright. Lewis grew up with almost no formal education. At 16, he lied about his age to enlist in the Union Navy during the Civil War. After his discharge, he took a menial job as an office boy at a Boston patent law firm and quietly taught himself technical drafting simply by watching the draftsmen around him work. He was so naturally skilled that the partners eventually promoted him straight into a full drafting role. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell personally hired him to draft the patent drawings for the telephone, working through the night under enormous pressure to help Bell file his application mere hours ahead of a rival inventor chasing the exact same idea. If you're enjoying stories like this, hit subscribe now This channel digs up hidden histories exactly like this one every single week. By 1880, Latimer had moved into the electric lighting industry, first working for one of Edison's direct competitors. There, he invented a completely new way to manufacture carbon filaments, wrapping the fragile carbon in a cardboard envelope during the carbonization process to prevent it from breaking. He patented the process in January of 1882. This single improvement made filaments dramatically more durable and far cheaper to produce at scale, exactly the missing piece needed to bring electric lighting into ordinary homes, rather than just laboratories and wealthy showcases. Edison noticed. In 1884, he personally invited Latimer to join his own company, where Latimer became his chief patent draftsman and expert legal witness, defending Edison's inventions in courtrooms across the country. In 1918, Latimer became the only Black founding member of the Edison Pioneers, an elite circle of the inventor's closest early collaborators. Meanwhile, Joseph Swan hadn't simply disappeared either. Edison sued Swan for patent infringement in British courts and lost. Rather than keep fighting, the two men merged their competing companies into a single business called Edison, which went on to dominate the lighting market across England for years. So the light bulb sitting above your head right now wasn't really the work of one lone genius in a workshop. It was Davy's blinding arc, De La Rue's overpriced platinum, Swan's patient decades of tinkering, Edison's relentless testing and self-promotion, and Latimer's quiet engineering breakthrough that finally made the whole idea affordable enough to matter to regular people. And once it did become affordable, it changed something far bigger than just how we light our homes. It changed our actual relationship with night itself. Cities that once went nearly black after sunset now glow visibly from space. Today, more than 80% of the world's population lives under skies polluted by artificial light, a number that climbs to nearly 99% across the United States and Europe combined. Most people alive today have never actually seen the true, unfiltered night sky that their ancestors saw every single evening for thousands of years. Scientists have also linked constant nighttime light exposure to disrupted circadian rhythms, poor sleep quality, and a growing list of other health effects. Since our bodies still physically expect real darkness in order to properly rest and recover, Edison's carbon filament and Latimer's improved manufacturing process have long since been replaced too, first by tungsten filaments in the early 1900s, and now increasingly by LED technology, which uses a fraction of the electricity for the same amount of light. The underlying idea, though, banishing darkness on command, has remained exactly the same since that quiet patent filing back in January of 1882. Next time you flip a switch, without a second thought, remember the actual chain of people behind that instant, effortless glow. A chemist's blinding arc, an overpriced platinum coil, a patient Englishman's decades of failed prototypes, a ruthless American businessman's relentless testing, and a self-taught son of escaped slaves working quietly behind the scenes, who made sure the rest of the world could actually afford to keep the dark away. If this surprised you, subscribe for more hidden histories behind the everyday objects you never think twice about. Next time, we're uncovering the toy one government actually tried to ban.